So I'm here with Jay King after a disappointing performance by the Boston Celtics, dropping a bad loss to the Brooklyn Nets. Just not a great performance overall, and just a lot of lackadaisical play that seemed like in the first half. The defense really missed Marcus Smart. It did kind of pick up in the second. Jay, what were kind of your overall impressions on how the Celtics performed defensively?
Well, first of all, I think they've played well defensively without Marcus Smart before. When he missed 3 games earlier, I want to say their defense was even better than it has been the rest of the season by a couple points. Obviously, he is a great defender, and he would have helped against the Nets Sunday. Um, they just didn't have a lot of energy from the start. They gave up a ton of offensive rebounds. They gave up wide open jumpers. Mid-range jumpers are what you typically want other teams to shoot. But the Nets made a ton, and it's because they were open.
Yeah.
And they were getting a lot of penetration to the hoop. They were getting in-rhythm jumpers. And the Celtics, they came in as a number one I think it was a number three. They had a number one defense briefly over the weekend.
Hmm.
But they just didn't have it tonight. And it was a reminder that they have to bring it every night. What makes them good is that they play harder than you and they're fiercer than you.
Yeah.
So if they're not that, then they're in trouble because their offense isn't good enough to carry them.
Right, and I think they tried to kind of they kind of tried to solve the problem with the zone that Brad Stevens likes to bust out a lot of the time. That kind of that helped with the penetration. That helped with some of the stuff that the Nets had going toward the hoop and started to shut some of that stuff down. And I thought they did a pretty good job rebounding, which can be kind of a problem for them when they go to that zone defense. And it did make a difference. They kind of almost got themselves back into the game, and that was, I guess, good to see, somewhat encouraging. It did make the kind of the big talking point after the game a little bit tougher to see with Jae Crowder. Just a not a great foul call after he knocked down a 3-pointer that I think would have made it a 6-point game late in the fourth quarter. That's kind of Jae Crowder's normal shooting motion, right?
Yeah, it would have actually made it a 5-point game, and if
5-point
they'd
game.
called the foul on Thad Young instead, then it would have possibly been a 4-point game.
Right.
So with a minute 41 left. Yeah, he always swings the right leg forward. So is it a foul on him? I don't know. I mean, in the rule book, it says extending a leg during a shot is not allowed, but it also says you can do your normal activities,
Mm-hmm.
normal basketball activities. So it's like kind of vague about whether that should be allowed or not. Um, Obviously, it was a big play. They still would have had to come back. They still would have been down 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a huge play, and it's something he's been called for a couple of times already this season. So either the NBA has to figure it out and start allowing him to have his normal shot motion, or he has to figure it out and maybe switch things up a little bit.
Yeah, it was like you said. I mean, it felt like a huge swing, and it especially felt like a huge swing because right afterward, Jarrett Jack came down and knocked down a shot as well. So it ended up being just kind of the dagger. I mean, I think the Celtics put together a little bit of activity after that, but it just that was the big moment. That was kind of their big chance, and it was tough to see that on on maybe a questionable call. Um, the Celtics, this is a bad loss. Obviously, the Nets pick is bad. Avery Bradley's been a bright spot, though. Just been playing really well over the past week. Played well again tonight. What did you see from him today?
He came in over his last 4 games averaging 18 and a half, and then had 27 points, a career-high 7 3-pointers. I mean, he just had a great game. And then he had the monster block of a Thad Young dunk. He had that incredible steal on the sideline where he went in the other way for a layup. I mean, he just had a great game. He's been shooting the ball really well. He's been shooting more threes than he did last year. He's been shooting fewer long 2-pointers, and it's really making a difference. He just looks in a great rhythm right now. He's really, really played well. This is maybe the best stretch of his career these last 5 games.
I love the way he's been playing defensively too. Bradley has gotten, like, in the past, he's kind of struggled with kind of that balance between how hard do I defend without picking up fouls, and I think he's really starting to strike that balance nicely. I think especially over the last week, he's been really good about it, about getting his arm in there, but making sure to not hit the guy, maybe not crowd the guy so much that the ref is forced to make a decision as to whether to make to call a foul or not. I think he's been really impressive that way as well.